So thank you so much, David, for joining us. So David is a senior business analyst, and I know that David also has a community where he prepares people and help them to understand business analysis and prepare them for interviews. He has over 5,000 followers on LinkedIn. Oh, when am I going to get 5,000 followers on LinkedIn? So I'm sure it just shows how much he's very active in the business analysis community. He's also an ethical IT professional, and he uses all of the tools in the business analysis to, of course, improve services. And I'm just happy to have him here today. So without wasting time, I'm going to hand over to David. And obviously, you can put your questions in the chat as we progress, and I'm sure our guests would attend to it. So if you have any BA interview coming up, or you want to transition into business analysis and you just have these questions, how do I do this? How do I get this job? So just put it in the chat. And of course, when David is done with his presentation, we would also take the questions live. Okay, over to you, David.
Thank you, Yemi. Hello, everyone. My name is David, and I'm happy to be in your community. Thank you for having me here. I know I have a lot of people here. I can't start calling names, although I would say it's nice to meet you all. And going straight into business, today I'm going to be sharing my screen right away. Can you see my screen? So.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's great. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about the role of a business analyst and also do a bit of role play, so the lessons learned on BA project as a person being a business analyst. Because for me, I would say that I have been a BA, because most people would be like, oh, I don't know if I'm a BA. I don't know if what I've been doing so far is part of the skills that a BA should have, So I'll just do a quick intro about myself. So I've been in tech for a while, and I started off as in infrastructure and operation, IT infrastructure and operation. Although I've been able to handle projects regards to ERP, regards to software as a service, and having the technical background of IT. I did my degree in computer science, and also I had to do a sort of additional degree to understand the rudiments of what it entails, the business aspect. So I took my master's degree in management information system. And here I am today. I have the agenda. That's about myself, So today, the agenda for today is to introduce us to the role of a BA, common BA interview scenarios. We'll do a short role play, the lessons learned from BA projects. I'll share useful websites with you, best practices for BA interviews, and also conclusion. Before I miss that out, I don't know, DME, I don't know the demography of your audience, but I'm speaking from United Kingdom, Manchester to be precise.
Maybe people can put in the chat. I'm sure we have.
I would like to know where people are joining from. Oh, thank you. Welcome, David. Welcome, David. So I would like to know where you are joining from so that I can get the demographic and also tailor my presentation today. Okay, UK, London, Birmingham, Luton. Okay. Oh, Northampton. Okay, IDBC, Olighton. Okay, Kemi, Bradford. Right. So, Lagos, Nigeria.
Lagos from South Africa.
South Africa, USA. Okay, Nigeria. All right. Oh, fair enough. So I can say we have most people here in the UK. Oh, somebody said I have an interview scheduled for Friday. I trust the session will be beneficial. Awesome. I will say congratulations to you, Mrs. F. That's what I can. That's name I saw there. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Hopefully, you'll get one or two things to take away from the session and to be beneficial to you as well. Cyprus, awesome. Mobata. All right, let's go on. So it's good to know that we have more people in UK, but I'm gonna relate what I'm saying to other places, other countries as well, so that we'll be on the same page. All right. And we're gonna talk about best practices for BA interviews, conclusion. Then I'm gonna take your question as well. So introduction. Yeah. So introduction. Is somebody saying something?
No, I think it's just someone that unmuted. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So introduction, by way of introduction, I would like to give a context to who a BA is and what business analysis entails. I want to assume that most people on this call are BAs. However, if you are just transitioning into business analysis, or you're just transitioning being a business analyst, you have the rudiment, you understand what it is, the skills you need to have and what you should know. So to put it into context, a business analyst acts as a bridge between stakeholders and development team, translating business needs into functional requirements. So if you ask me, who are the stakeholders? Who are the development team? Right? So the stakeholders are the people you interact with. They are the people that you need to get information from for you to deliver on a project. All right? Now, the development team, like we all know, they are the IT guys, where you have the product manager, where you have the software developer, software engineer, where you have the testers, the quality assurance team, where you have the UI UX. UI UX, that's the guy that will give you the framework, where you should be hearing about mock-ups, for you to have a layout of what you need to see. So translating business needs into functional requirements. I know that most people understand functional requirements, non-functional requirements. You would have been hearing that a lot, okay? But we're gonna discuss more on that. So business analysis itself enables organizational change by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So in the context of and I'll say this here, in the context of using the IBA, because I am an IBA member, and I try as much as possible to relate to BCS as well, because they are quite intertwined, and we need to understand the rudiments. We need to understand the foundation of what we are doing. If you understand the foundation of what you are doing, if you understand the goals, the major functions that you need to address, it will help you to become a successful business analyst. So speaking of business analysis, you are meant to get your stakeholders, engage your stakeholders. You are meant to provide value. You are meant to provide change. You are meant to provide context and also solution and results. So if you look at all this, you see that most people will tell you, oh, I'm a change analyst, oh, I'm into digital transformation, whereby you have a particular system and you're trying to adapt or improve that system itself. So business analysis enables organizational change by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. As a BA, this is your main function. You need to drive change. You need to deliver value. You need to recommend solutions, and you need to prefer solutions to needs. Okay? Now, speaking of the framework, of a product development team, where do you see yourself? Where do you find yourself as a BA? Who are the people that you interact with to make your project successful? Now, if you ask me, right, a project itself, when you have a project or when you get to a company, and I'll give an example about this. If you get to a company today and they said, oh, you've been offered a job as a BA. Now, the first weeks is for you to get yourself acquainted. However, you need to ensure that you understand the people you are working with. You need to ensure that you understand the organogram. And I cannot overemphasize this. I used to say it. You need to understand your organogram so that you have the people you relate with, the people that will make your project successful, if I put it that way. Now, if you look at this framework, you can see the stakeholders, right? You can see the project manager. You would have heard people saying, if you're a good business analyst, you can transition into a project manager, because the functionality and the quality they possess, the skill they possess is quite related. However, to each project, you should have a designated personnel. That is why your stakeholders here, you interact with your stakeholders will give you the requirements you need. They will give you an overview of what they want, right? When you interface with your stakeholders, the next thing you need to do is come to your development team. That is where you have your project manager, they set the project charter. Now, when they set the project charter, that is how you have an overview of what you want to do, how long it's going to take, how long did it take you to complete that project, what are the pros and the cons that you need to look out for. Now, this is the UI UX. The UI UX is the guy that will give you a conceptual view of what you need to see. All right. Now, the solution architect, the engineering team, all these guys are together. And this is why it is essential. It's really, really important to have a good relationship with your stakeholders. All these people you are seeing here, they are called stakeholders. Now, it's quite important to know that when you're working on a project, what you want to get, what you want to achieve, from the project, that is dependent on who you interact with. And I will take that again. If you are working on a project that is trying to transition or move, or transform from manual process to an automated process, definitely you know that there's an existing model, there's an existing framework that you can leverage on. Okay, so that means your job is half solved, if you ask me. But if it's a new project entirely, you need to do a whole lot of things. And I will try not to go into details about that, because you need to understand the environment, you need to understand the legal part, you need to understand the technological part, you need to understand that is when you do your SWOT analysis, because it's a new market entirely. All right. So, best practices for BA interviews. Best practice for BA interviews. I've heard so many people say, oh, is there a different way, or is there a different approach for physical interviews and virtual interviews? All right. Now, we know that before you go for an interview, you need to research the company and the industry itself. And I used to say this to people. I used to say that you shouldn't confine yourself to a particular domain. For me personally, I've worked in the education sector, I've worked in the ed sector, I've worked in the IT sector. So And I understand the financial sector because I've been able to engage myself with projects and also relate with people in that particular niche. So I would say don't stereotype yourself to a particular domain and say, oh, as a BA, I'm only good with energy. I'm only good with finance. I'm only good with healthcare. You should be versatile, right, as a BA, and that is where your additional skills, where that gives you an edge. Okay, if you have an edge over other candidates, definitely you will stand out because everybody can be right. Everybody can have the same skill, but if they look at your CV today, what sets you apart from the multitude? Okay, if we go through your CV today and say, oh, can you give me your CV? Let me go through it. What will set you apart from the other 10? That is what you need. That is your strength. That is what you need to work on. So either you have additional certification, either you have additional goals, additional skills, Salesforce, speaking of all these certifications, right? And I used to say to people, it's not about you just getting the certification, but you having the certification or you belonging to a particular global body. It's not about the name alone, but it's about you having that authority, speaking with authority as a BA. When you speak to your strength, it gives you an edge as well. So what do? Research the company and industry. You need to understand what they do, the culture. You need to understand what they stand for. You need to understand the kind of methodology they are using, the kind of framework. We have some companies that they use framework such as Scrum. We have some that they use their framework, they use Kanban. So it depends on the industry you find yourself. It depends on the company you find yourself. That is how you be able to position yourself. Okay? So now, prepare relevant examples from past experiences. So preparing relevant experiences or relevant examples is when they ask you questions. And for example, you hear, can you tell us when you successfully handle difficult stakeholders? Definitely, and I used to say this to people, before you go for an interview, they know who you are. Okay? Before you go for an interview, when you get scheduled for an interview, rather, they've gotten your CV, they know what you have on your CV. However, they want to put a face to the name, right? They want to hear from you. They want to listen to your technical skills. They want to listen to your soft skills, right? They want you to prove to them that you are who you confirmed yourself to be. Okay, so prepare relevant examples from past experiences. Now, active listening. Communication is really important. And when you are being asked questions, it's not the impulse at which you respond to questions. Now, it's the ability for you to listen and understand what is this person asking for, not what do I want to say or what am I passing to this person. It's about what is this person asking for, what is he looking for. And I say to people that what you say must resonate with the person interviewing you, or you must have the ability to resonate at the same frequency. That is what makes you stand out. That is what makes you, do justice to questions. So it's not about asking you and say, oh, tell me about yourself. And you start saying, oh, I went to primary school, I went to secondary school. I took certain course. I know, and I've seen this a lot. that most people will start saying, even from tell us about yourself, people will start saying, oh, I use Jira, I use Confluence, I use Balsamic, I understand how it works. You know, sometimes it's just a brief introduction about yourself. Just say what you've done, where you are, where you want to be, and why you've applied to that particular company. Leave the other details because they will ask you. So when it starts asking you, then you find people rumbling and say, okay, then yes, after I finished that, I did this. After I finished, tell us about yourself, not about giving us the old episode about your life. Yeah, it's about saying what they want to hear according to that job role. Okay, now ask clarifying questions. So this part is saying that how do you ask questions? What are the kind of questions to ask? And you shouldn't go to an interview and say, somebody asking you, or after the whole interview thingy, you hear, do you have any question for us? And you say, no, I'm good with everything you've said. At the same time, people should ask questions. Don't ask questions like, okay, so tell me about your company culture. That means you've not done your research. Or somebody saying, can you tell me about the challenges you are facing? That's a good question. If you ask about the challenges they are facing, it means you want to understand what is going on. Now, another question that is not relevant that I would say you should stop, you should not ask is asking them, are you using, what kind of methodology are you using? You know, if you say, what kind of methodology are you using? That means you've not done your research. So clarifying questions will help you to have a good projection into that role, into that company. Clarifying questions must be cogent, must be concise, you know, must be open-ended question that will give an answer to what you want to know to make your job easier when you get on board. So I used to say that build a story toolbox. Every BA, I used to say this, we are storytellers. Okay, and when I say storytellers, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying we say stories, but you need to have the ability to tell stories. Storytelling is really essential when you go for interviews. And storytelling is not about telling me, okay, how did you engage a particular project? You know, went on and you start saying, oh, the first thing I did was I went back to the office, then I picked a notebook, I picked a pen, then I looked for the stakeholder. The stakeholder said he's not around, you know, and all those things. No, the storytelling I'm talking about right here is about you scripting your CV. Okay. And this is not about you lying on your CV, but scripting your CV in such a way that you can put together your experiences. All right. You can put together your experiences on your CV and speak to them. Give us a background history of what you did. Give us what went down, what went wrong. How did you guys miss the milestone? How did you undo difficult development team members because they have the same authority? Okay. So, and this part, I'll put this together for physical and virtual. Now, sometimes people tend to say, oh, it's just a virtual interview. You know, I can approach it the way I want to. You need to ensure that you understand the company. So you need to, whatever you want to do or how you want to dress should be a step higher. Let them take you serious. Okay, let them take you serious. Let them have the feeling that you are ready for that particular role. I'm not saying that you should overdress, rather be presentable. I'm not an HR person, but I'm just speaking in that regard. And I know we can all connect to that. So be friendly. Okay, smile, but stop. I won't say grin every time, but at least put a smile on your face. Don't come to the virtual interview and your face is all muddled up, squeezed up, and you came in like you want to fight everybody on the call, or you're just like, you know what, you guys just hear me out. I've prepared all night. I just want to pour to you. I just want to pour everything I have in my head. I know about Jira. I know about Confluence. I know about Balsamic. I can do management. I know about stakeholder management. I know about requirement gathering. I've studied so hard, and I'm gonna pour everything to you. No, don't do that. Be friendly. If you have them on the call, if you and I know that some company they do this, they will tell you who you are talking to or who will interview you. So if you have that, just check them out a bit. I didn't say you should stalk them anyways, but try to find something about them and speak to that. Have a connection, build a connection. Okay, be friendly. So it's not about getting on the call and you see perhaps 3 persons on the call, and the fourth person greeted you, "Oh, hi David, how are you?" And you greeted the first person and you said, "Oh Henry, I'm good, and you?" And you kept quiet, and keeping quiet about that. What about the other 2 on the call? You can't ignore them. So since you have their name on the virtual platform, I don't know, either Google Meet, either Zoom, you should have a name there. So just come and call the name. So if you are in the UK, you can use first name, or wherever you are, you can at least address the person in a manner that you know will resonate with the person. Okay? Now, back to questions. What are the good questions that you need to ask? I would say the good question that you need to ask is, in this job role, either what are your expectations? What do you expect from me in the first, say, 3 months or 6 months? And this might sound generic, but it will help you to project, it will help you to prepare, it will help you to do better, perhaps do more research. For example, if you are going into a company that's a different domain from what you understand or what you have knowledge about, if you are going into the energy or oil and gas sector now, and you've never been there, that is the opportunity to know, ask them what they are looking for, because they're going to set you a KPI, what you need to meet. That will prepare you ahead. All right. So ask good questions. Get the research about the company for you to have a good knowledge of questions to ask. All right. Now, I did this because this is the fast food menu. Whatever you are saying to them, whatever you are churning out, is like you handling out a menu list for them to consume. So what are you offering? What is on your menu list? Okay. What do you have on your menu list? Is it something, if you pass it to me and I look at your menu list, is it something I'll give you, I'll place an order for? Is it something I would like to eat? So what is on your menu? Okay. Have good things on your menu so that you can give them something good to eat. All right. So we have interview techniques, yeah, and there's an approach which we all know. We have the situation, we have the STAR approach, that's the task itself. We have action, then we have results. However, what I've done is to go an extra mile and add lessons. Okay, while you are doing your STAR approach, try to add lessons learned. This will help you to tell them that you even though you add the project or you're in the project, you're able to learn on that project as well, or in that experience. So what did you learn? Now, anything you're going to say, anything you will say using this approach must align to what they have. I know that some companies do roll out job briefs. I know that they will tell you, perhaps you've passed the first stage, you have your scenario-based questions, behavior, and situation and other things like that. So anything you will say must relate to your job role. Any information you pass must relate to your job role. All right. So a quick one, and I had to put this together. I said a role play. So I was able to put a situation, I was able to put a task, an action, the results, and also the lesson learned. Now, situation of this project. The current state allowed each client to use their payment processor within their individual software as a service instance, leading to inefficiencies and security concerns. Now, that's the situation, the current state. Now, if that is the current state, which means I'm performing a change management role here, like a change analyst, okay? That means we are dumping the old system and are picking a new system. What is the task of a BA? Is to gather business requirements, the user and vendor requirements, identify suitable vendors through RFP documents. Now, speaking of documents, I'm sure we all know that as a BA, there are some documents that you need to get together if you are working, when you are working on a project. And these documents, I think I have an article on that written somewhere, the document that a BA should use. So you can check that up and you can look out on that or look for it. So gather business, user, and vendor requirements, identify vendors through RFP documents and interviews, build a client onboarding process, and implement credit card tokenization. That is a task to do. All right, so that is a task on itself. Now, when you are speaking to the to the person interviewing you, yeah, what you need to do is create a situation, create a task, create the action, the result, and the lesson. So you just put this together, and that is what I call creating your story toolbox. That is your script. This is your script that you can speak to. Now, what is the action that I did here? Initial planning and requirement gathering, development and testing, customer onboarding and data migration, documentation and training, ongoing support, and vendor management. That's the action for this project. Now, what is the result? After I've done the situation, task, and action, what is the result? Successfully tokenized over 2,000 credit cards, significantly enhancing payment security, achieved a PCI compliance in less than 6 months, ensuring the company met all necessary regulatory requirements. Onboarded over 300 clients within the compliance window, generating over $3.5 million in revenue in the first quarter of the fiscal year. This part, if you look at it very well, you see that there's quality and there's quantity. Quantify what you've done. Use numbers. Don't overinflate the numbers if you didn't do that. Make it relatable. Make it genuine. All right? Make it genuine. So if you look at this, somebody that picks or that is going through your CV would be like, no, this person is result oriented, because you've been able to address everything that you've done, the result you've gotten. Anybody picking this up will say, oh, this is a good value, or this is a good asset that we can add to our company. All right. Now, when you've done that, I said, listen, it is essential to build relationship, because without relationship with all the stakeholders, and your own lesson, it might be different from what I have here. Okay, so try to craft your own lesson that you learned on the job, put it there and speak to it. Okay, so now common interview scenarios: requirements gathering simulation, stakeholder management role play, problem solving scenarios, and also how to gather the right functionalities and the right skills or the right tool that you need. If you look at requirement gathering simulation, requirement gathering itself, we have different techniques. Okay, and different techniques, you need to understand the project, you need to understand the stakeholder itself, because your stakeholder will give you the opportunity to know the right technique to use when you are speaking or when you are tackling a project. So these scenarios evaluate key skills: communication, critical thinking, analytical skills, stakeholder management. Now, your soft skills should come in play: communication, critical thinking, analytical skills, stakeholder management. It is really, really essential. I'm gonna take a pause here. Do you have any questions for me? You can unmute your mic and ask questions before I proceed. Anybody? Ibmi, do you have any question in the chat box?
Not yet, but if you have any question, please can you speak up now? I know some people have interviews coming up.
So ask your question before we move on. I would like to take your questions now.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good
Yes,
evening.
good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
My question is this. You said something like when you're asked to say something about yourself, you shouldn't go about saying what you've done before. You should just go straight to the point, maybe telling them about a project you've worked before. So are you trying to say, like, for someone who is a newbie in the industry, you are not expected to tell them should I say, your story, like how you've been, where you've been at the point, and before you got to that point of applying for the role. Like if you've done something, maybe in the HR, maybe you've done something in the care industry, are you trying to say it's not necessary saying it?
Okay. I'm trying to get the name of the person speaking to me. Can I
It's
have your name
Lillian.
so I can address you?
Lillian.
Lillian.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Lillian, thank you for that question. That's a beautiful question, I must say. Now, we need to understand something that is really, really important. When you are applying for a particular job, it is good for you to tailor your skills, for you to tailor your experience to that job, even though you've not, even though they are transferable skills. And I'll give you an example. Speaking for myself and people in UK, I will say that you should know that your CV must be tailored to a particular role. You can't say you want a BA role as a business analyst, then you have something on your CV saying customer service personnel. You in the first, in the first 2 years, you were in customer service. Then in another 1 year, you are in the care sector. In another 1 year, you worked somewhere else. So irrespective of where you've worked, I used to say to people that transferable skill is really, really important. Okay? Let your skill align with a BA role that you're applying for. And I must say that if that is not done, that's why most times you see people saying, oh, I pushed out my CV and within 10 seconds, I got a rejection email. Or unfortunately, like we all hear. Oh, I got an unfortunate. How did that happen? Because the particular keywords, the particular thing the ATS system is looking for is not there. So to answer your question, please try to tailor your CV using your transferable skills to align to what you are applying for. Lillian, I hope that answers your question. Now, while you introduce yourself, if you've done that, if you've addressed your transferable skills, when you are speaking to your interviewer, okay, you will be able to speak more confidently as a business analyst because you've added your transferable skills to your CV and to your experience. I hope that answers your question, Lillian. Any other question before we move on?
You have some questions in the chat.
Sorry, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much, David, for that was really, I'm actually even taking notes as we were jotting.
Okay.
As we were, my name is Femi, and
hi, Femi.
Yeah, hi, I'm in Glasgow, UK here also. So I was just like, I was of the opinion, and I think Idiyemi just addressed what I was saying. I think she read my mind based on the chat she just put in the chat box to say this industry is quite unfair to newbies. So I give you an example. What you demonstrated using the STAR approach, the lessons you're looking at there is like the reflection or something in terms of the last, after the results. The lessons there are like what some people will call reflections. Now, looking at it, so some of what you said in terms of your STAR approach, I couldn't relate it at all. But now, like some other people have said it, we have done most of the theory in terms of understanding things like requirement gathering, things like that. Now, how are we able to? I know there are things like I know Nexus Edge does in terms of trainings and things like that. I've done a couple of trainings before, but you don't have that background at all. I work with the government, for instance, now as within the as an operations analyst. So how will I say I've done something like a business? I'm trying to go into the BA role. How will I say I've done something business analysis even within my role? Do you get my point? Because everything you were saying in terms of based on your previous experience, based on the STAR approach, looks at things like maybe the SDL system, software development life cycles, system development life cycle sort of. So just help in that regard, please. How can newbies go into the system in terms of what can it demonstrate? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Femi, for that question. I'm just going through the chat section now, and I can see what the BMU has said so far. That's a good one, right? And I will say, this question is for you, Femi. Now, you said you're working as operation analyst, right? From all these soft skills that we've listed, I'm sure that you've used some of them.
Oh, definitely. I've used all of them.
Exactly. So those are your transferable skills. However, to make your application or to project yourself out there, I know that Nexus Edge is also taking things on training and also doing projects. IBM, you can correct me on that. So I would advise newbies to try and find projects they can work on, right? Nexus Edge Consulting Limited, IBM, I know that you are doing something in that regard. So if there's a project that people can go into, they can venture into to own their skills and also apply their transferable skills to relate more as a BA, that will go a long way for them. Because I can see someone saying, as newbies here, how do we, for someone currently learning, at what stage in his or her learning journey can he or she start applying for jobs? I will say to you, so far you know that you are confident in yourself and you have the ability to deliver, you have the skill to deliver on as a BA, okay? You can churn out your CV. I'm sure that Nexus Edge, you have a CV revamp session that you can go through, put in your experience, put in your CV there, let them revamp your CV and try to look out for jobs that you qualify for. Because most people will say to you that, oh, I'm turning out my CV to 10, 20 applications in a day. Are you shooting the right shot? Right? Are you looking at the right job role you qualify for? You can't expect yourself to have 2 years experience or a year experience and you are already looking for a lead analyst job, a lead business analyst job. It doesn't work that way. It's a process. So for newbies coming in, I will say to you that try as much as possible to move from the entry level. Okay. But if you've gotten yourself on enough projects and you know that you are not a junior business analyst anymore because you have what it takes, you can prove yourself, then why not? You can shoot for senior BA. So what I would say to you is prepare yourself, get yourself ready before you launch your CV out there. That would be my opinion on that. So she just said training, including a live project and work experience, comes with a free CV and LinkedIn optimization. So for new people that are currently going into business analysis or as a business analyst, this is a good one for you. Okay. Any other question before we move on?
Can we have items jotted in a piece of paper while going for an interview? So that's Ifedayo.
Okay. I think that's Ifedayo is a smart person, I will say. Yeah, he's
absolutely.
a smart person. So Ifedayo, that's a good one. Now, I used to say to people that it's not about you writing a whole bunch of epistle and you are looking down, trying to catch all your points and speak to them. But whatever you are writing down should be a pointer to the next thing you are saying or what you want to say. I know that some people normally use sticky notes, put sticky notes around. So it's not you speaking directly to what you've written, but it's to help you remember what you want to say. Now, going into interviews with notes is really important. However, don't become a secretary while you are having your interview. Don't write down every single thing because they will look at you. Don't you have ability to assimilate or to remember things? They said something and you're just... However, you need to tell them. So this is where communication comes in. If you want to write something, you can say to them, you know what, if I'm looking down, it's not that I'm ignoring you, but I'm trying to note some things that I feel I can take away from this interview. Let them know. All right. So that's a good one. You can do that as well.
Can I also Can I also add to that if you want to be honest, right, at the start of your interview, you can ask the person interviewing you to say, I have some notes that are written down. Is that allowed in this interview?
Yeah.
They would say yes or no. And you would know, okay, if they say no, that's fine. I'm going to put my notes away. But most of the time, they'll say, that's okay, that's fine. Okay, like David said, don't write everything you're going to be saying because you're going to be confused and they will catch you like you're reading a script. So
Yeah.
just put bullet points that remind you of the next steps, maybe like pointers to your situation, pointers to your task, pointers to your action and pointers to your results or lessons learned. So I think
Absolutely.
that's, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mrs.
excuse
F.
me.
Thank you.
Someone
Yeah,
is
you're welcome.
asking. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an interview. As in, wouldn't they see it like you're having an exhibit,
No,
Nah,
kind of?
no,
nah, it's not an exhibit.
no, no. I've seen people even prepare presentations to say, am I allowed to, I've got a presentation I've done, am I allowed to present it? I know someone personally that did that. So it's not an exhibit or anything. They always believe that if you've got the experience, now no one believes that you've done a CV and you're lying in your CV. That's the first thing you have to understand. They don't believe that you're lying on your CV. They are there to listen to you and get your experience and see if your experience fits with their values and what they need you for. So it's not an exhibit.
Right. Does that apply to face-to-face interview? I must say to you that even if you go for a face-to-face interview, you can ask, right? And it's good to also take notes. You can ask, okay? But I will say to you, I don't think you want to do that. Try taking notes for face-to-face interview. I'm sure you must be really, really prepared and also remember what was discussed. As a graduate with science background, is it possible to transition into business analysis? Now, what I would say is this, Sunny, the why do you want to transition into business analysis? Do you have a drive for it? Do you have passion for it? If you have all those checked, why not? It's a field that you can easily go into because it's more of what you do day to day, your day-to-day activities, right? Somebody will say to you, oh, I'm not a business analyst. And I will ask the person, do you cook? Do you bake? All the processes that you go through, that is part of a BA's job, getting information. Now, people going for conferences, going for events, they'll say, oh, first register for this webinar, it's free, but registration is compulsory. That is to give you what to expect. That's to give you a sort of an entry, and if you have that, you need once you feel that, and I'll give a quick analogy. What I would say is this: if you have someone that says, oh, I'm organizing a webinar, and the person wants to capture information such as email, name, and other things like that, that is useful for the organizer because it's an avenue to reach you and also share more tips, get you register for more trainings for you to become a better BA. And that is why I will say to you on this call, if you're on this call and you are really interested, please connect with Nexus Edge Consulting and try our best to take good opportunity to gain your ground as a BA. Okay? So, because of our time, I'll move on.
I have a question, please.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, my question is from the role play. When I was listening, I was just hearing big words. And so when I'm in an interview, do they expect me to just be speaking big grammar or just some buzzwords the interviewer expects to hear from me as a BA?
Oh, now if you say big words, how do you mean? And yeah, if you
I
say
don't know, like,
big words,
can I narrate, like, can I say a story in a more, I don't know how to say, more personalized or way? Like, I don't know how to explain what.
I get you. I get you.
Yes.
I get what you mean. So, now on your CV, and even while you're trying to optimize your LinkedIn page, you always have something like put the right keywords. As a business analyst, there are some particular business lingo that you need to know. You can express them and interpret them in your own word, but sometimes they expect you because that is what they are called. I'm sure you hear something like, oh, process mapping, gap analysis, as is to be. You have a lot of that out there. But do you really understand how to handle such projects when you have them? So if you are saying big words, perhaps they are the language that we speak as a BA. However, when you are explaining things, and that is why you see me explaining further on those words to make even somebody that is new to this sector or to this niche or to this particular domain to understand better. So there, I would say to newbies might be a big word, but once you get on a training, they will not become big words to you again. I can tell you that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, David.
Okay.
Um, hi, hi David. Please, I need to ask a question on that role play. Please, I need to understand, is it the organization that is supposed to give you that scenario where you apply the situation, task, action, and result, or you're supposed to come up with it when you are asked a question in line with that? Mhm.
All right, Wendy. So I mentioned something when I started speaking. I said before you get before you get invited, they know who you are. Okay? Because they have your CV. And that is why sometimes when people go for face-to-face interview, they regurgitate the CV over and over again. That is not why you're there. It's not for you to keep reading your CV back to them, but it's for you to prove yourself and speak to what you've done and who they are looking for. So it's not about the role play now is you using your CV, creating a script from your CV, your experience. What did you do? Now, I know that on CVs, you have, let's say, I demonstrated leadership, thingy, and stuff like that. Or I was able to create a process flow and I model and I use BPMN and I do all those things. Now, those are bullet words. That is your opportunity when you get to an interview is to expand those bullet words or the bullet points rather. Do you get me? So that's for you. That's your avenue to prove yourself. You've highlighted your accomplishments. You've highlighted the things you did, your job role, your duties. Okay, but they want to hear from you. This person has a good CV. You are good on paper. Now, come to us. Are you that good? Okay, so that's the assessment. You are telling us, oh, this is beautiful, with a revamped CV. It's good looking, it's captivating. You have quality, you have quantity, you have numbers, you have results. But now let the person speak to you. You feel like, are you sure you are doing all this CV? You look at are you sure you are doing all the CV? Because most times people are not able to speak to their CV the way they should. That is when somebody will tell you, oh, okay, 2020 to 2022, I was a business analyst, and what I did, we were able to work on a project using the cloud infrastructure or ERP, and what we did, you have to put them together, and that's why the technique is really important. Structure what you are saying. That's scripting. Structure it so that you resonate with the person listening to you. And when you are structuring what you are saying, is you telling them that, see, I'm the person you are looking for. Okay, I'm the person you are looking for. I'm the ice cream. I'm the chicken or your fried rice. Let me put it that way. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, you did. Then, secondly, at what point are you supposed to apply that role play? As in, what question are they going to ask you for you to start applying there?
It depends on the question you get asked. Okay, the question you get asked, it depends on the question you get asked. That is when you speak to them and use that approach. All right. So if they tell you, can you tell us when you handled a difficult stakeholder? Now, when you are trying to address that question, okay, you need to put the experience. You can just say when or why I was so place. This happened. All right. Give them a background, give them a context of what happened with your stakeholder, with a difficult stakeholder. Give them a context how you are able to handle that particular issue. All right. Okay, so I've answered the question. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, it has.
So lessons learned from BA projects. We have clear requirements are essential. Clear requirements are essential. Stakeholder engagement is crucial. Expect and plan for changes. Document everything, but don't become a secretary. All right. While you're documenting, it's not for you to write down everything that you think you need to write down, but you need to document everything. Validate assumptions early. Useful websites, and this has been targeted strictly for UK. So that was why I asked, where are you joining from? You can also look at other ones that you think will work for you. So we have JobServe, Indeed, LinkedIn, Track Jobs, Department of Work and Pensions, gov.uk, and so on. Okay. Now, I'm going to say this. According to Richard Branson, business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. Job opportunities are like that. If you don't get one, you try another. Never give up. Okay? And be strategic. Whatever you are doing, don't turn out your CV all over the place. Okay? Be strategic. Have a focus. Know what you want. Know what you assess yourself. What do you think you qualify for? Even ask yourself, if you are the person offering a job, will they give you the job? Okay? So never give up. Keep pushing and go for the best. So, right. Now, this is my final slide for questions. Any other question? I think we've asked a lot of questions so far.
Yeah, sorry, can I quickly ask a question, please? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. This session has been so helpful and impactful. But my question is, apart from BA roles, I know there are some other job role that is actually BA, but they don't scope BA. So for someone like me that is applying or that is applying, so at some points it's kind of like BA roles. You don't get to see more. Like I used to, like a month ago, I was seeing a lot of BA roles, but now it's like I'm reapplying for the same role over and over again. So my question is, are there other job title that are not BAs but are related to BA that BAs can do as well, apply for as well? Thank you.
Yes, yes, we have a lot of roles that you can fit into. Okay. And if you look at the requirement, if you look at the job, if you look at the job briefs, okay, if you look at the job briefs, you see that you qualify for them.
Okay, so do you now advise me to change my CV like from BA to when applying for the job to tailor it down? Say, so should I change it to that name, the name they've given it?
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, then please, do you have any names for me, like if for any other, I don't know how to say it now, like okay, if I go on JobServe, rather than searching BA, the jobs for BA, what other names can I search for?
Yeah, I think I know what you're asking. So you could
Yeah.
search for things like requirements analyst, process
Okay.
analyst, things like that. So one strategy that you can use to apply for jobs, right, is searching with the skills. So go on
Okay.
instead of searching for business analyst, right, search for stakeholder management. You see those jobs, they'll come up. Search for requirements gathering, requirements elicitation. When you search with the skills, it would also bring up other job titles that you don't even know exist.
Mm,
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you.
yeah.
All right, just to add to that, okay, to add to that, you should also try your best to leverage on your keywords. Okay. If you compare 2 different jobs or 3 different jobs, look at the keywords that are prominent. Okay, leverage on them. When you see them easily, you can develop on that and also use that to see things that resonate with you, things that resonate with your CV and to you as a person. Because definitely within you, you will know that, oh, I can do this job. Because self-assessment goes a long way. So conduct a self-assessment on yourself and get your results before you turn out your CV out there. All right. So lastly, I will say that is the end of my session here. And I hope you've been able to get 1 or 2 things and also use them in your future job hunting or your job search. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry, David, I have one last
I was
question,
going to say something
and
as
it's
well.
regards timing. So, what do you think it should be the like maximum amount of time for you to respond to like a particular question? Because I know some interviewers don't like you to like give them lengthy responses, like have you speaking over and over again regarding a particular question. So, like, how many minutes do you think we should give to like a particular question while responding?
All right, thank you for your question. Is that Titi Lokwe?
No, that's not it.
No, it's Linda.
Linda. All right, Linda, because I can see another name here. That's fine. So, Linda, I will say to you that the active listening, active listening goes a long way. Now, I will say this: when you get asked a question, think about it. All right. Try not to rumble. See, when people rumble about their answers, it's because you have a whole lot of things mumbled up together and you are trying to say them at the same time. So that is when I used to I tell people that while you are preparing, do a whole lot of role play, scripting, get someone, try to understand your CV, try to understand it to a fault, so that when you get asked questions, you'll be able to fix yourself into your previous experiences or your present experience to address that question. So I would say it's not about it's not about you taking a particular time to speak or saying lengthy stuff, but it's about you saying things they want to hear, things that resonate with them. And funny enough, some people will hear you and they will just keep nodding, just keep nodding like, all right, and you think you're making sense, whereas you are shooting yourself off point. So you have to be accurate, you have to be concise, and you have to be clear in what you're saying. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, my question is for ABME. I just wanted to confirm if this is going to be on our LMS, so we can always go back to this recording, because I don't know, I'm a novice, let me just put it that way. So it's still a little bit complicated. I only had my first class last week, so I just wanted to know more about this. That was why I joined. I wouldn't have joined on a normal day, but then I just wanted to keep hearing about it so I can keep understanding it more. But it got a little bit confusing at some point. So I just wanted to be sure if this is going to be on our LMS, and I can always go back to it when I get to that stage of going for an interview and stuff. Thank you.
Yes, Titi, this will be uploaded to the LMS for
All right,
people
thank
that
you
are
so
already
much.
with us in Nexus Edge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I will say BMB over to you.
All right, thank you so very much, David. This has been really, really insightful. And I know there are some. Elizabeth, do you have a question? Because I can see you just unmuted your mic.
No, I actually just had like a contribution to what
Okay.
David had said, and just to also buttress what Linda had asked. So in a situation where you go for an interview and obviously they ask like multiple questions, I know David did mention and Yemi did also mention, being honest enough with them from the onset of the interview, letting them know that you have a pen and a paper to either maybe like you have a sticky note or you have a pen and a paper to note down questions, because I have gone for some interviews and that's what I did. I actually did tell them, oh, I have the pen and the paper here to note the questions. And obviously we all understand that the language barrier, because a typical English person speaks really fast, and for you to fully understand the question, you need to either jot down and ask them to repeat themselves, so you have the concise question, and it helps to navigate how you answer. So what David said was what I messed up, or how I messed up during my previous interview, because I did have my answers, but I was rambling. I knew what I wanted to say. I was saying it, but I was still going round in circles at the same time. So another feedback is once the interview is done, you could always ask them for what's the word, a feedback, because they did tell me exactly where I went wrong. And going forward, because I intend to apply for more jobs and get more interviews, I will use the feedback that I had gotten in my previous interview to get better.
Yeah. And you'd also get your interview prep from Nexus Edge, because Elizabeth is one of our students.
Yeah.
Right. That's spot on, Elizabeth, I must say. And that's a good question to ask. Sometimes I used to tell people and say, you know what, ask them, now that you've learned about me, okay, do you think or do you feel my skills meet who you are looking for? Okay, the body language will tell you, the responses will tell you. If you're gonna get that job, it will tell you. If they're gonna lie to you, or gonna ghost you, it will tell you. So from right there, you will be able to say to yourself, oh, I know my fate already. And one last thing, and this will be a takeaway from this session. When you go for interview is not just, I'm not an HR person, please, that's a caveat, but I'm just speaking in regards to what I know and the experience. Now, it's not a one-way traffic. You can ask them questions. Okay? Is a platform where you get to know each other. It's not just about them knowing about you. You have the right to ask them questions. I'm not saying you start asking some outrageous questions, No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying to you that you have the opportunity to ask questions. Now, I'll give you a quick analogy. And do it this way. When you respond to a question, okay, when you give an answer, turn it around, ask the person the question. If the person said, how did you handle a difficult stakeholder? Now, you can turn it around and say to the person, do you think I'm going to face the same thing on this project? Or do you think, can you tell me what are the likely challenges? Do you understand? So I'm just trying to craft something for you, but the responses you give, that's to tell you that you can ask questions as well. So it's not about them just, and it makes it better because if you don't ask questions, they keep asking you a lot of questions. Then some people, and this has happened to me before, and I'm gonna say it here. So some people, when they get asked questions, they keep talking. Their pitch keeps going up. And at some point, you see them, trying to get themselves back. So to get yourself, put yourself at rest, relax yourself, compose yourself, make it a session like you are discussing with a colleague. All right. And don't be desperate. Okay. Whatever you're doing, don't be desperate. Don't look desperate. Don't sound desperate. Try to prove yourself. Try to prove that you know what you are doing and you want to get the job. And you are also a value and an asset as well, not a liability. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It's great speaking to you. Thank you, IBME, for having me here as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. I think that's been a very, very fantastic session. You can connect with David on, his name is there, David Odepidan, and you find him on LinkedIn. Okay, before we go, I just wanted to also, because I know we have some people here that are not currently with us. So I know someone said they have an interview, and it's just to buttress that tell me about yourself question. Now, that question is the first question most of the time, not every time. Okay, I've been to interviews where they haven't asked me, tell me about yourself as the first question, where they've asked me, tell me about a project you've done. So you don't really get stopped on tell me about yourself as the first question. But if you do get it, it's like a make or a break question. So get a very structured answer. And I'm just going to give you the way I always answer tell me about yourself. So they have 6 different steps, right? The first step is covering the amount of years of experience you have in different roles. Okay, so I have more than 5 years experience working as a business analyst. I've also worked as a process analyst. List the roles that you've currently done and make sure those roles are within the skills of a business analyst. Don't go to I'm a carer or, I work in the factory or something. Don't go out of the box. Okay, stay within the areas that really impacts your role as a business analyst. Now, once you cover that off, go straight on to your qualifications. Okay, I have a master's in XYZ. I have certifications in this. And even if you don't have the certification, if the certification is currently in view, it means that you're currently working on it. You can as well talk about it. Okay, so I have Prince 2, I have Lean, I have Lean Sigma Bell, whatever. I have BCS, I'm an IIBA member, depends on what you have. Okay, and then go on to talk about the types of projects that you've actually delivered. Okay, I've delivered change management projects, I've delivered digital transformation projects. Talk about the type of project you covered, and then go on to the type of methodologies that you have used. I have used agile methodology, I've used waterfall methodology, I've used a combination of waterfall and agile methodology. So list them on. I've used lean methodology, depending on what you have used, even if you haven't used it. As long as you understand how you're using it and how it impacts your project, you can talk about it. Then my step 5 is for me to talk about the tools that I've used. Okay, I've used Jira, I've used Microsoft Visio BPMN 2.0, I've used Miro, I've used Balsamic, I've used Figma. Please list them and then conclude. My final step will be to conclude to talk about myself. I'm a flexible person. I'm very adaptable. I have, interpersonal skills. My manager, I've always been, my manager always, appreciates me for how I work. Okay, so there are different ways you can answer tell me about yourself. Different people have different formats, but this is my own format and there are 6 distinct steps. It helps you to structure your answer. And if you can get this one correctly, it opens the door to like, wow, this person, then follow-up questions will come from there. So I just thought to add that extra one to what David has already taken us through. But David, it looked like you wanted to say something.
Right. Yeah. I think I said the last thing, but I feel let me add this one. So I know that people are quite resourceful. I know that we take a whole lot of certifications. Please don't add ServiceNow administrator certification to your BA CV. If it's not needed, don't add it. All right. So tailor your CV to what is needed. Even your certification, if it's not needed on that job, for that job, don't put it there. Okay? Always put what will make you stand out. Always put what will give you an edge over other candidates, and that's it. Okay? Thank you. Now that's the last one.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. But just at time, I think we planned for this to be an hour, 30 minutes. So 4 extra minutes. Does anyone have any final thoughts, any final questions before we go? I think it's also a good opportunity to tell. I know we have other people that are not currently studying with us in Nexus Edge, but what we do is we take you through the live classes, all right? Then we take you through a live project where you get to work either as a project manager or as a business analyst. So the point there is to get your collaboration, stakeholder management and engagement skills in play. And then after the live project, you get your free CV, your LinkedIn optimized, and you get ready for the job market. Now, if you do have an interview, we'll definitely be there to support you, do mock interviews for you and prepare you for the interviews, because the end game is for you to get that job and bring back the success story. So it's just an opportunity to give ourselves a shout out. At least we gave you a free workshop, so we can also sell ourselves. So I think most of the people on this call, if you are not currently studying with us, then you probably belong to our community. So if you want to ask further questions, you can always send us a message. Any final question before we go? Okay, David says, if you need an internship, please reach out. That's an amazing opportunity. And I would want us to grab it. I have a lot of my students on the call. I've seen some people join with their project name. You see things like Project Savvy, things like Project Pantheon. So if you need an internship, please reach out to David. I think that's
David, sorry. Is it paid in internship?
Send a message to David.
Okay.
So is his number on Basecamp?
No, his number is not on Basecamp. David, how can they reach you? LinkedIn?
If you connect with me on LinkedIn, you should have my contact there. Or even if you use all these, either my website, you can connect with me and I'm gonna answer you.
Because you can actually put the internship on your CV, so that's really cool.
You can connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Lydia.
So can you drop your full name on? Okay, we can see your name now.
My full name is there.
take a picture, Awa. Okay.
Yeah.
I think thank you so much, David, and we'll definitely be calling on you.
No worries. Anytime.
Yeah. So let's end it here. If you have any question about our training, I think I should actually drop our number on the chat. Sorry, David. Just going to drop our contact details on the chat so that you can reach out to us directly. So the phone number is already in the chat. Okay, and I think, sorry? Okay, I think that was just a glitch. Okay, so I think it's a good place to end. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And of course, we'll be bringing you more sessions like this. So stay connected and have a very good evening, everybody.
All right, bye everyone.
Thank you, David. Thank you, BME.
Thank you, David.
Yes,
bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, BME.